Welcome back. So this week we're going to show you how this whole hybrid thing works. So we're going to take some FG plastics and be welding it to XC plastics. So you'll see us hot staple, welding the plastics and then moulding it to make it all one turn into two, two turn into one. So enjoy the show, lots of other stuff in there as well. So we're just trying to work on this dash to get the flow from here down and then pick up the seat. So we've got all the seat mounts done, so the FG floor. So now to try and get all of these plastics in, the plan was to use all of the FG stuff. So you can see here there's a bit of variation in the angle there. And then as it comes along, we'd previously added a ridge here to take a piece of the pinch weld. So that's all going to work, and that all looks exactly like an FG now. So being able to make up some little brackets underneath this, which I'll show you when I take it off, to hold it down. But now it's starting to want to curve up on this end. So decided to take it back off and see if we can put the heat gun on that and get some shape more like what we want. So we need it to run a bit straighter. And then we can do that because this is going to get covered by the trimmer. So I'll show you what we're going to do with that and we'll progress from there. So when we've combined the outside XC to the FG, this down in here is XC and then this is FG. So now we've made these little brackets up to be able to screw that plastic down, because where the original ones where it just doesn't quite work out. So we'll make those mounts there, and then when we go around the pillar, we've been chopping bits up here to be able to shorten it up for the width of the pillar variation. And then we're going to use a cover on the pillar, which is the A pillar, between the B pillar, between the front and rear doors. We're going to use the XC one. So I'll just try and show you all of that and let you see how it goes. Okay, so I've got it back out of the car now. So we just mounted it up to a block of wood. And that way it holds this end where I want it, and then where this curves up there, I'm just going to put some heat on that with a heat gun and then hold it down with the file and hopefully let it cool and it'll stay in position. So that wasn't too bad, just need a bit more now back in here. So I'm just going to heat that back edge up and then hold it down again. So I'll get it hot with the heat gun. This is all trial and error, like most of these cars, but I'm just looking in the middle there, it's sitting up, so I'll be interested to see how it cools down. So this panel, where I heated that up before and pushed it down, we've now decided to get rid of that ridge. There go the screws. Try to get rid of that ridge. So it's been cut, pushed down, used a bit of heat with the heat gun again, and then used the staples to hold it together. If you're going to do any of this, when you use the heat gun on it, you'll actually see it start to go shiny, and that's pretty much when you can move it. You can see how it's sort of shining through here. So if you're going to use your heat gun, best what we've found is once it starts to change colour, you'll notice that it starts to fit. And then up the front here, to get this one to fit properly, so I showed you earlier where it wasn't the right shape, we've heated that up and then just used a roller that are designed to put the insulation in the car. So we've used that, and that's enabled us to roll that now, so it all fits back in to where it's got to go. So this is a standard XC B pillar cover, so it's designed for the seat belt to come out of the top, and then there's another little plastic piece that goes on here that gets trimmed, and then it covers the seat belt, which is mounted back inside the pillar. So what we've done is mount the FG seat belt into the position where it's inside, so it now can run up through, and then we're now incorporating that lower section, which you'll see in the other video, to combine this one and the scuff plate in the door frame. So to get this piece to fit, it normally fits around the pillar here with pinch weld coming out the top, and then it has a couple of Tech screws in it. So what we're doing is cutting this front face down here and then once we've done that, it then fits over the pinch weld. So I can show you on the other side where it's been done. So this one here showed you where it screws on. So now you can see the white line there. Just going to trim that off so that it can sit up against the pinch weld so it matches the FG. And then these little clips in the back here that were designed to hold it out, and take those out so it'll fit down and go in over the top. So it's all about trying to get that transition so that they'll all go together. So we've got a bit of a jigsaw puzzle going on here. So this is the original XC seatbelt cover, goes up the pillar, and then the bottom is what's left of a FG B-pillar piece that's now about half the size, and then it's been trimmed down and heated up to be able to get it to go to the shape we need in the car. And then a little tool I've just bought is designed to join the plastics together, a little reinforcing tool. So I'll show you how that works in a minute, but that now is ready to be sanded down and use some fillers and stuff to make it. Now remembering this is all going to be covered, so we don't have to worry too much about the look of it because it's going to get covered with the suede material. So this is another one of those jobs where you don't have the right tools. So back on the old eBay, and I've bought this one, don't know the company, don't know nothing about it, but it seems to be doing the job really well. So it's a hot stapler designed for doing plastics, and it's got the little plastic gadgets there, that the staples, and it comes with a range of about half a dozen different ones, and a little button there, and then that's just simply a case of hitting the button, heating it up and pushing it into the plastic. So as you can see there, we've got a lot of those already in there, so they were all done on the job to hold it in place, and now we're just putting them in. Let it cool a little bit and then slide him off, and righto, so once that's all been done with the soldering iron, pushed it all in and tried to smooth it out, a bit like doing concrete really. The plan now is to run over it with some 80 grit on the little sander, on the Mercer sander, so we'll see how that goes. But you can see there we've had a bit of a start at it, and it looks like it's going to be alright. So the thing about plastic is you need to keep moving and not get it too hot, because once it gets hot it starts to grip and move around and does its own thing. Righto, so that's all been sanded up now, so it's close. I mean, it's going to want a bit more work yet, but I need to just get it back on there and make sure it's all going to fit in. So this bit of plastic here, you know, in the seat belt, that's part of the XC, and it's got a couple of notches in the back of it that locates this. So this is going to slide down here and click into place like that, and then this one here fits down in here, and then this one will go, that one goes in first. That one will go in there, then that one goes in there, and then they all clip onto the seats, and that'll be really good. So I'll set that up so we can see what it looks like finished, but it's pretty impressive. So the last thing to sort out the front here now is just to get a clip in the back. So from the factory it's got a clip that goes in there, but we've lost the ability to mount that, so we just have to make a new one there. And that's now flowing through really good. I'll have that pinch weld there, so that'll all match in fine, and then when we come up and look down on it with all that clipped in, so that's all on the factory clips, and then it sits into a channel on the bottom, and then this will come out, we'll weld that one up, and it looks pretty much stock, which is awesome. So the other day I got some other stuff in that I put on the video probably 2 weeks ago. So there's the Naturally Black, so it's a heavy duty trim cleaner, and I tried this the other day and I'm super impressed with it. Like most of their products really, that one and the Naturally Black Restorer in a spray pack. So today I'm just going to show you the badge for the grille on Boss XC. So the grille is a rally pack, so the 4 headlight, and then part-way through XC they went over and changed to the radial tune suspension, or equivalent of what the HZ Holden had done. So I think it was 78, and part of that package beside the suspension was the grille badge, which looks like this one. So that was one that I had in stock. Looked a bit tired, looked a lot like this one, all the back. And I had a bit of a play with the product to see how it would go, and I was very, very surprised. So trying to clean in the back of a badge like that's quite difficult. So I'm just going to have a go at the other one and just show you how it works. So this is one that I had put away for the panel van. So you can see in the back there just how grubby that is. And normally all that white sort of effect is part of the problem. So to get the badge off, the screwdriver here, there's a hole in the back, like that one, that I'm guessing was to use to get the air out when they put the badge on, but it's pretty handy to put a screwdriver in the back, and I just made sure that one would fit a minute ago, and bingo, it popped off just like that. So it looks to be original, that badge. And there's always a bit of discussion about what the badge is, because there's a few different ones with the radius on the badge, and this looks to be an original one. That badge would probably be okay for a nice streeter, but it's not going to clean up because the chrome started to lift on it. So what we end up with now is this piece. So what I'm going to do is show you how this one works. So it comes with a little brush and all in it, and it's a gel. And I'll put a bit of that in there and then give it a bit of a scrub up with the brush that they supply, which is handy. So prior to this stuff, I'd probably use their heavy duty cleaner, the one that I promote all the time, the Speed one. I like that, but this stuff is even better for this type of job anyhow, at least on these plastics. Okay, so I'll give that a bit of a tub. I've got some water here. Just going to give it a soak in some water. So I don't know what's in it because it doesn't have any strong smell, you know, it doesn't smell toxic or anything. I've just got the friendly air hose here. So that's the first go. And straight away I can see that a lot of that, I guess it's a combination of bits, you know, stuff that's in the water, the hardness of the water and those sorts of things that normally turns it white, and the plastic going off a bit. Now I've got some polish and stuff there because I'd normally give that a hit with a bit of metal polish if I thought it needed to come up, but that's come up surprisingly clean. So now I'm going to give it a couple of coats of this. And if I remember rightly, the directions just tell you to spray it on and wipe it over. Hold 6 inches away, soft cloth, microfiber terry towel, thoroughly buff the surrounding surfaces, blah, 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 blah. Heavily stained and soiled areas may require a second coat. Simple as that. Let's give that a quick dry. Okay, so if we have a look in there, so I'll give that another coat and let that dry, and then I'll give the outside a polish while that's happening. So with this outer face here, this one's in pretty good nick actually. The other one I had to do a little bit of repair on. So I grab another one of my trusty rags that's already had a reasonable go here. So the same old deal, if you're using, you know, you're polishing plastics, things like the badges and stuff, just use a quality soft terry towel. You know, you can buy terry towels everywhere now, but they're not all the same. The actual softness of the towel is very important when it comes time to polish, because if it's too coarse, then it's just going to actually do more damage and be coarser than the actual polish. So whilst it's metal polish, I find it polishes the plastics up nice. So I normally give it a first cut with that, and then I'll grab the plastic polish. And this one's been kicking around for a while, so it's probably a bit lumpy. So this is one of those, comes out of one of those headlight kits. And it's a nice soft polish. You can see there, obviously it needs a little bit more time than I've given it. And then on the inside, whilst it's shiny at the moment, that'll matte off when it dries out to look like that. So you can go from a pretty ugly looking piece to something that looks brand new with the right product and a little bit of time. One of the things about a car of this magnitude with the amount of changes and complexities of the build is finding all the parts, and sometimes that's probably one of my biggest bugbears, is to be able to work out what we're going to use, how we're going to do it, and then source the parts that we need. And you've seen earlier in the earlier programs with the mufflers and making the extractors and all those sort of things, and I was still looking for exhaust tips. So I've been searching the net, and there was one there that I was sort of not quite exactly the size I wanted, but very close. So I decided to get a pair. Found them just through the old Google search, and these are a stainless steel tip. They're long enough, and the size in relation to our oval pipe is very close. They're a little bit bigger this way than I sort of had in my head, but sitting them on the car, I think they'll be fine. So they're stainless, they've got that nice rolled lip on them. And now we're going to have to make a flange to bolt on the back. So we'll get rid of this. Obviously we've got a much bigger pipe than that. And we'll make that so it bolts on, so I can go ahead and get the tailpipes ceramic coated. And then that'll be just one more bit we can put to bed. Righto, so this week we've just about got this side finished. So the back part down here, I've got some more parts coming from Pick Apart just to make a bit up in there out of a front one. But really happy the way it's turned out. And I really want to take the opportunity just to have a talk to you about what we're doing and why we're doing it. And you know, there's been a bit of banter about, you know, pity you're putting the late model stuff in an old car and all those sorts of things. I mean, the reality is with what we're doing here is building a street machine for someone that wants a really current fuel car. And the advantages of doing what we're doing is it gives awesome, effective air conditioning, computer control, all those things that we take for granted now, the seatbelt operation, the gear change, all those things that make up a nice car, this car will now have that. And because we're using the seats, the floor, all the insulation, you really will feel like you're sitting in a late model car. So from my point of view, I've done other cars where we've done similar things. So those people that know my 66 Mustang, that I finished for Summernats 21, so what, 12, 13, 14 years ago. That was a really nice classic Mustang, but I put a Nissan Silvia S15 dash in it and then incorporated that into the car and gave it a feel by changing bits and pieces just to make it feel like it belonged. And I felt at the end of the day, it looked really good. A lot of people couldn't even work out what it was or where it came from. But once again, it enabled me to put aftermarket air conditioning into the car and a nice clean dash and something that looked right and brings the dash closer to you in the car, because all the old cars, the dash seems to sit so far away. And the same as the plastic welding, we've done things in the past, back in the 90s, everyone knows Rock 3. When we did that car, a mate of mine, Lou Piori, that helped me build that, he did the dash in that, and we actually chopped up the dash and put 3 pods instead of 2, so it had the Speedy, the Tacho, and then in the third one we actually incorporated VDO gauges, took them out of their factory pods, made up a gauge, plastic welded it all, put it back in, and it gave it that nice clean look. But incorporated with that is I also put an EA Falcon console and shifter in it. Now people will probably go back and look at the book and go, wow, didn't realise that's what it was. But it's about being able to incorporate the late model stuff into the early stuff and give it a feel and make sure it's balanced and there's not that sort of line. And I think this type of thing here that we're doing here, where the seat will look good, the kick, and then when it comes up here, it doesn't lose or go away from what the XC was all about. So stay tuned and follow, and hopefully those that can't quite see what we're up to will be able to see the result and enjoy it just like we think we'll be able to. Righto, so a few weeks ago I asked you to comment on the video so I can answer it, and I answered all those people that do, and thank you very much for that. And that was about what you've got now. So if you had the opportunity for me to build you a car, what would it be? What would the driveline be? Don't be shy, it can be, you know, maybe a Holden, but whatever it is, let me know, and I'll answer your comments, and let's get this thing really rocking. So remember, you've got to click like and you've got to subscribe so that we can keep doing what we're doing and keep bringing good stuff to you. So for all you regulars, our go-to-air day is going to change from the Tuesday out to a Thursday. Just need to do it for logistics. We need to get things together and make sure we're on time. So Thursdays instead of Tuesdays.